topic, strategizing endpoint security. And for this, I would like to invite on stage Romanus R Prabhu, who is the Director of Product Support at ManageEngine. Giving a brief introduction, he's the Director of Product Support, responsible for ensuring that UEM customers across the globe are happy. He oversees the seamless onboarding, product training and implementation and support experience for all customers. With this, please give him a huge round of applause.
Good morning. Thank you. So, I trust each one of you is happy, healthy, and being a blessing to others in these days. Now, this 15 minutes, I'm going to talk about strategies, right? How you could focus more on endpoints and ensure that they are building your business, not a liability, right? Chance of getting any vulnerabilities into your network, right? I'm basically from Zoho. I'm from ManageEngine, division of Zoho, which focuses more on IT management for the enterprise, right? We also have other divisions which focus on different aspects. As you know, Zoho is a SaaS platform where we host our own applications. And in ManageEngine, we particularly focus on IT service delivery, right? So we have different pillars here: service management, IT operations management, SIEM, logs management, unified endpoint management, and IT analytics, which could base for all these, take information and give you business views and help you to take decisions. And this is available on all platforms like on-prem, cloud, and MSP. Right. With that introduction, let's start with statistics. This one, probably previous speakers all spoke about this breach. So this is from the website 𝗬𝗱𝗏. You'd be able to find each country and its breach status right now, right? Now we could see between 2022, Q3 and Q2, what is the difference? We are up in the statistics. And this one is probably a surprising news for all of us. There were close to 700K cyber attacks this year alone, reported by in the parliament, right? Now, if you look at the rate or the cost what we give to data breach, leave off the 13 countries just before us, we are in 14th place, right? Even the cost is also increasing. Now, all these things really tell that irrespective of industry, irrespective of specific domain, so the attacks are happening on everyone, right? So nobody is safe, and we have to understand that. Now, here is a quick statistics from Microsoft, which talks about how attack is strategized and narrowed down to one particular victim, right? They get kind of 2,500 potential target organizations. When you talk about potential organizations, there are clicks where unwanted clicks that our users do, employees do, that might not immediately be a big attack. But when they click from the browser, all your cookies are taken. The passwords could be sprayed, right? Now, these information, they call it as IAB, Initial Access Brokers. And now that is sold to one particular vendor. And these vendors, based on their impact and potential profit which they could make out of it, right? They will choose and analyze that. So that is where it comes down to 60 in number. And from there, 20 are actually compromised. 20 organizations are actually compromised. And from there, one successful event of ransomware attack happens. So this is a report from Microsoft, right? So our organization's data could be available. Even there could be a penetration in our own network unless we identify, do a threat test or threat hunting, find that whether something has happened in our network, it's going to be a great challenge. Now, this is again a survey from Microsoft. This talks about the small and medium business landscape. Now, the survey talks about more than, close to 70% say that they are in fear of being attacked at any time. And 1 in 4 is already a victim. And less than 50% think that they are safe because they have the right IT people or skill set available for them to handle the situation. Now, this is a challenge where enterprises, larger organizations can afford to have the skill set what you need to have today for the modern attack threat scheme. But for the small and medium, with the teams that what we have, you have to upgrade their skill set to the model AI level based threats that could cause your organization. Now, this is where organizations talk about enterprise grade security. The security is same for one and all. Maybe for the larger organizations, you have presence across the countries. So you need to abide with GDPR laws, security laws, and then you have to ensure that distribution and collection of the information for the alerts are handled better. Apart from this, every organization is the same, and you have to ensure the security is one and same for all. And this is a classic example that from the previous slide, how ransomware was so successful over the period of time. When the first attack, popular attack like 𝗬𝗏𝗏 happened, it was not a profitable attack for the threat actors. It is more about victims' cost, a loss of revenue. But this one, after that, is more about the profit that ransomware attackers could gain. There are two reasons for that. One is ransomware as a service. It's not individuals attack, it's going to be a pack of, a legion of attackers who join together to launch this attack, right? And second one, because of cryptocurrency, the transfer of funds were made easy. So these are the two reasons that you would find that ransomware attacks are growing in number. And this one, I don't know how clear it is. This talks about what tools were used to launch the attack. And when I talk about launching the attack, it's not going to happen in day one, right? There is recon, and then you have to gain the access. There are a lot of stages in launching an attack. And at each stage, the tools what they use are very popular and even used for administrative purpose by us. So this one talks about such tools and what kind of role it would play. And this one is from veteran attack analysis report, which talks about one particular attack and what were the tools used in that. If you look at that, this talks about many tools, and I want you to pay attention on the type of software that it talks. It says COTS software, commercially off the shelf, free software, Windows utilities, right, and free services what is available. Now the summary is 90% of the tools used for the attacks were freely available. Either Windows utility or free tools, or you can just take that and start using that. Only 9 to 10% is something which the ransomware attacker, the threat actor has developed or asked this team to develop to launch the attack. Now it is very clear, if you can flip the scenario and use this 90% of the tool to see your network, you should be able to find your gap. Where is the gap and what you have to do? And there is a challenge in that, so you cannot use so many tools. And that too, if the attack is going to be in the combination of corporate network, corporate provided device endpoint, and corporate approved identity, using the authorized applications like WMI or PowerShells. Now when an attack happens with all these approved, authorized, authenticated, trustable media and identity using the software, then you stand no chance to identify that. Now, we call it as living off the land attack, right? Now, how do you go about defending your endpoints against such attacks? So this is where we recommend a layered security approach for our customers to ensure that attacks are not happening or protecting your endpoint. Now, you cannot, people talk about tools, what are the functionalities, what they have, and the reports which they get. Now, I want you to just go back and focus on this approach where this can help you to stop unnecessary alerts coming to your EDR or your attention. It can stop things at different levels so that what is required for your attention and what you have to do as in terms of action, allowing, not allowing that, can be made. Now, this is what we suggest. So this is basically a Johari window. Joseph and Harrington from the field of psychology have designed it just to explain their thoughts and ideas. I kind of borrowed it to align this with our strategy. There are 4 quadrants, and it is plotted against known vulnerability against remediation. The first quadrant is known vulnerability, known remediations. Obviously, you all know this is going to be on patch, right? Customer, the vendor, the threat actor. All these 3 parties know that there is a vulnerability and there is a solution for that. Now it is our responsibility as a customer to take that and deploy it on your network. And the challenge is you don't have the comfort and luxury of doing that within your organization because the endpoints are everywhere, anywhere. Now you have to ensure the availability and bandwidth constraints and ensure that these things are patched immediately, right? Please remember, WannaCry was because of one vulnerability on SMB v1, right? The patch was available for 15 days before the launch of the attack, but still nobody cared to do the patching, even internet-facing computers. That was the challenge where such a huge attack was able to be launched. Right? So this is your first layer of defense. Do your patching, right? This is like a magic. This is like a vaccine. So you don't know what is that it is protecting against, right? So please ensure that your first line of defense is patching and you do it on time. Now the second line, I want to just connect the Q2, which is basically a unknown vulnerability, right? So I would just put that in a way, it is a blind spot. So this blind spot, when you have better visibility, you should be able to gain what is happening there, and you can have controls, security controls over that to take a control of it. Now let's start with vulnerability assessment, where apart from patching, you have other vulnerabilities like misconfigurations, right? And other unwanted applications. You don't want FTP service to be running in your network, right? You don't want torrents to be running in your production network. Now this is where this vulnerability assessment gives you a baseline of things where what you want to do, what you have to stop or put an end. So this vulnerability management will bring better visibility in terms of those aspects. Apart from this, browser is the biggest thing. So browsers are not going to be patched when you do the first line of defense. When you do the patching, only your browser gets patched and it's upgraded. But what about the extensions, helper objects, and other components which are sitting inside the browser and enabling that to be very powerful, right? Now that could be leaking data outside. That could be running on an elevated privilege. How do you standardize that? How do you know that this is happening across your endpoints? Now this brings visibility, and you should be able to have control, security controls, and control everything. And network access control, NAC, where not all endpoints are connected to your management servers at all point of time. When they are away, there could be changes. I know organizations during this COVID period were giving local administrative access to the computers, right? Because you have to ensure that employees are able to do the business. That is important. If you give that, probably you know what is going to be the result. So when they come back to the production network, is the security posture of the endpoint is as expected as what you have defined for your organization. If it is not there, it has to be automatically quarantined, ensured with all the patches and software update what you have here, and then allow it into the organization network. Now that's called network access control at the endpoint level. And then coming to the data leak, so that's very popular. So what you have to do is define what is sensitive data according to your organization. And based on that, you should be able to stop things leaking from mailing it or printing it or sending it to other machines, things like that. App control, have you whitelisted your organizational applications or blacklisted? You want to give limited control for the elevation. All those things can be taken care from there. And encrypting, when the data goes from your endpoint to the server or the cloud, from there to back here, and it should have been encrypted so that there is any man-in-the-middle attack can be prevented. Now, this is your layer 2 of defense, bringing visibility to the blind spot. And finally, unknown unknown. So this is where the real-time monitoring has to happen, right? Now, how can you build a solution for this? One, based on the standards, previous attacks and understanding of that. MITR and attack, probably everybody knows about that. Attack stands for adversaries, tactics, techniques, and common knowledge. So previous attacks will be analyzed, and a report like what we have seen in the previous slides would be available for you. Now, based on that, that knowledge could be included in your application so that it knows any such attacks, any such movements, any such process, right, that could be stopped, and it can take care of that. Now, this is one way of doing that. The other way is you have to understand the behavior of your endpoints. What time it logs in, what time it does this process, what are the standard applications and processes that it is doing, what are the standard servers it connects. When the standard behavior is analyzed and baseline, when the endpoint deviates from that, it raises an alert, right? So that's how you ensure that you baseline, and from there, if there are any deviations, that could be done. Now, based on all these things, you should be able to do an endpoint real-time monitoring and detection and response. Now, what will happen in case if you are not able to detect that? Today, you might not have any attack on your network. But the problem is, the statistics tells you the threat actor could be inside and then waiting for the right opportunity to launch the attack. Now, how do you address this problem? Though you are not able to find them real time, you should be able to do a threat hunting. That's what initially I was talking about. Using the IOCs what you have, you should be able to identify that and see whether your network has any such hidden threats in your network, right? So probably with that, I'll close the session. You have been a great audience. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. We can take one quick question. Yes, sir.
Hi, thank you for the insight. My name is Vinayak. I work with Philips. What measures do you recommend for endpoints, the BYOD endpoints, where the stakeholders, aka the owners of the endpoints, resist any corporate control?
Okay, so bring your own device is the biggest challenge for nightmare for every administrator, every organization. Now, the problem is, I'll tell it from the user's point of view, where they want to use their own devices which has cutting-edge technology or features which is not as good as what they have when compared to the organization-provided devices. That is the biggest challenge which we have done a survey. So that's the reason people want to move away from that. And from our point of view, from the organization's point of view, then when they come in, we have to have restrictions. What we have done for a specific organization, right, from the HR, when they punch, right, so we kind of link the profile when they enter into the organization. So when they punch, the profile will be enabled, which will go into their network, into the devices, and ensure their cameras, the applications, whatever according to the policy of the organization, it would be disabled. When they punch out, it automatically enables that. Now that way you could have a mutual understanding with the organization and the employee and then have this implemented. Otherwise, BYOD is the biggest challenge because end users wants to have freedom, at the same time use the application, but organization wants to have restrictions, security, privacy, and that's not going to coexist.